Hi guys, welcome to my chess channel, and in this first video we will be discussing the chess basics. In the chess basics, we will be discussing the chess board, the chess pieces like the king, queen, rook, bishop, knight, and pawn. And then we will also be discussing about piece value and coordination on the chessboard. So let's take a look at the chessboard. As you can see in this image of a chessboard, there are two sides, black and white. Each side has 8 pawns, 2 rooks, 2 knights, 2 bishops, 1 king, and 1 queen. And there are also small numbers from 1 to 8 and letters from A to H. These are called coordinates. We will be discussing these coordinates later on in the video. So I've also listed a tip. The chessboard has 64 squares, 8 tall and 8 wide. Chapter 1. The chess pieces. First is the king. At the beginning of a chess match, each player has 1 king. Total number is 2 kings. At the beginning of a chess match, the kings sit on the coordinates E1 if you are white and E8 if you are black. The king is the most important piece of them all, since you can lose a game if your king gets checkmated. The king can move only 1 square at a time in all directions. As you can see in this image, I've drawn the arrows to all the squares that the king can move to in 1 move. Next is the queen. At the beginning of a chess match, each player has 1 queen. Total number is 2 queens. At the beginning of a chess match, the queens sit on the coordinates D1 if you are white and D8 if you are black. The queens are considered the most powerful pieces. It is equivalent to the rook and bishop combined. So rook plus bishop equals queen. And in this image I've drawn all the arrows to the squares that the queen can move to in 1 move. Next is the rook. At the beginning of a chess match, each player has 2 rooks, or you can also call them castles, but we will stick on with rooks. Total number is 4 rooks. At the beginning of a chess match, the rooks sit on the coordinates A1 and H1 if you are white, and if you are black, the rooks sit on A8 and H8. The rooks can move horizontally or vertically however many squares. However, they cannot jump over other pieces. The rooks are considered the second most powerful pieces. And in this image below, I've shown you all the squares that the rook can move to in 1 move. The bishop. At the beginning of a chess match, each player has 2 bishops. Total number is 4 bishops. At the beginning of a chess match, the bishops sit on the coordinates C1 and F1 if you are white, and if you are black, the bishops sit on C8 and F8. The bishops can move only diagonally but cannot jump over other pieces. They are classified into 2 types: dark squared, which can only move diagonally on dark squares, and light squared, which can only move diagonally on light squares. The bishops are usually considered more powerful than the knights, specifically in endgames or sometimes in open positions, since they need space to move. In this image below, I've shown you that the squares the bishop can move to. And this is the dark squared bishop. The knight. At the beginning of a chess match, each player has 2 knights. Total number is 4 knights. At the beginning of a chess match, the knights sit on the coordinates b1 and g1 if you're white, and if you're black, they sit on b8 and g8. The knights are best in closed positions and in the middle game. They only move in an L shape, so either 2 squares up and down, and 1 square to the right or left, or even 2 squares to the right and left, and 1 square up or down. The knights are the only pieces that can jump over others. And in this image below, I've shown you all the squares that the knight can move to in one move. Each of these squares are possible to reach within an L shape. The pawn. At the beginning of a chess match, each player has 8 pawns. Total number is 16 pawns. At the beginning of a chess match, the pawns sit on the coordinates a2, b2, c2, d2, e2, f2, g2, and h2 if you're white, and if you're black, the pawns sit on the coordinates a7, b7, c7, d7, e7, f7, g7, and h7. Pawns are considered as the most useless pieces. However, don't underestimate the power of a pawn, since if you let a pawn move to the opposite side of the board, it can promote to any other piece that I mentioned above, which can be the queen, the rook, the bishop, or knight. Not the king. You will get to know later on in the video. Pawns move straight only, but they can diagonally capture other pieces. The pawns can move 1 square forwards if they are not on the 2nd or 7th rank. However, if they are on the 2nd or 7th rank, they have a choice of moving 1 or 2 squares. Pawns, like many other pieces, cannot jump over other pieces that are right in front of them, but they cannot take the pieces that are in front of them either. In this image below, I've shown you the 2 pawns that are on the 2nd rank have a choice of moving 1 or 2 squares. Or this pawn, which is not on the 2nd rank, has a choice of taking the queen, which is diagonally to the pawn, or it can move forwards. And sooner or later, it moves to the back rank, and then it promotes to a queen, which is the most powerful piece. Next chapter is piece value. Now this is an easy chapter, so that's why it's a very short one. In chess, there is a term called piece value, which can help determine which pieces you should take if you have a chance for taking 2 or more pieces in one move. This is called a fork. Will be discussed in future videos. As you can see in this image here, this knight can take this rook or the queen. So this chapter will help you determine which piece is more valuable, so you will know which piece you have to take. Hint: the queen's piece value is higher. Here in this image, I've shown you the piece values of all the pieces. The pawns have a piece value of 1. Knights is 3. Same with the bishops, 3. Rooks, 5. Queens, 9. The kings have a piece value undetermined, since the king cannot be captured. It can only be checked or checkmated. By the way, if you move a king into check, that is not possible since it's illegal. Chapter 3, Coordination on the Chessboard. You might be wondering, what are coordinates? Well, in this chapter, we will discuss coordination on the chessboard. As you can see in this image above of a chessboard, there are 64 coordinates, since there are 64 squares. In these coordinates, you can see letters and numbers. If you want to learn how to write and play with these coordinates, there are a few steps you need to follow. Find which letter the piece is on. Letters are on a vertical file. Then try finding what number that piece is on. Numbers are on a horizontal rank. After that, just write the letter first and then the number, and that's it. And in this image below, as you can see, the black king is on the letter F and on the number 7. The white king is on the letter C and on the numbers 3, F7 and C3. Now, just for fun, let's learn how to read or write the coordinates without any letters or numbers. First tip is there are 8 letters from A to H and 8 numbers from 1 to 8. Second tip is letters are on a vertical file while numbers are on a horizontal file. Step 1, find which side is white and which side is black. Tip 1.5. White is present on the first and second rank, while black is present on the 7th and 8th rank. Step 2. Simply find the letter or number by counting and add them up, with some practice of reading the coordinates without letters or numbers. In practice 1, as you can see, white is here, which means this is the first rank. So we will be counting the numbers up, and we will be counting the letters in a sideways fashion. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A, B, C, D. D6. In the second image, white is here, which means this is black, which means this is the first rank. This is also letter A, which means that this is H and 8. So we will be counting down the numbers and down the letters. This is H, so this is G. This is 8, so this is 7. This is 6, and this is 5. G5. Now we need to learn the notations and how to show coordinates of those pieces. Now this is a more advanced topic. Notations for pieces and fundamentals. King is K, queen is Q, rook is R, bishop is B, knight is N, pawn has no symbol, only where it moved, capture is X, check is plus, etc. And for computer analysis, this is what you are going to see when after a game you analyze the game with a computer. And this is all the things that the computer can say about the position. Next, we will be learning about notations and moving pieces. Step 1. Write the piece which you or your opponent is going to move. As an example, the queen. Step 2. Then write the coordinates of where that piece is moving. As an example, F3. Step 3. Combine the pieces and where the piece is moving. Q, F3, or Queen F3. Other possibilities. When you have 2 or more pieces of the same type that can move onto the same square, you add the coordinates of the square that the piece came from, and then without squares, and then without space, the square that they moved to. In this image below, you can see that this knight came from this square, which is b2, and the knight on f3 also had access to that square a move ago. And so we write where the knight came from, b2, and where it went, d2. That will look like knight b, d2. Lastly, when a pawn is promoted to another piece, it is written with first the square that the pawn moved to, and then the piece which it promoted to. As an example, a pawn promoted to a queen. That will look like a8, q, or a8, queen. Alright, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends so that they can learn about the chess basics as well. See you in the next chess video.